Welcome to Comic Talk, where everyone can come and indulge in all things comic related, whether it be movies, TV shows, cartoons, video games, or just comics themselves. If you love comic books, then show it by hitting that subscribe button to help this precious media that we all love thrive and flourish. Imagine, if you will, that you were shrunken down to the size of a tabletop miniature figurine and placed on a world-sized chessboard. The board was littered with other tabletop innocent people who tried desperately to survive on a treacherous landscape full of tidal waves, hurricanes, earthquakes, and steaming hot, erupting volcanoes. If this was not bad enough, two celestial beings moved baleful, malicious chess pieces across the board in hopes of wiping out the opposing god, leaving you with just two problems. One, trying to save the lives of the innocent in this hostile terrain, while at the same time protecting yourself and them from the god's heinous chess pieces, who are wanton enough to cause the same amount of damage to you, as well as the innocent, as well as the opposing combatants. If you can conceive of this notion, then you are just at the tip of the iceberg of what this beautifully crafted story arc has to offer. For it is a tale of gods with men, and what hangs in the balance is the fate of the world itself. So join me as I do an overview of the Avengers No Surrender story arc that runs a massive 16 issues, starting with issue 675 and running all the way up to 690. Enjoy. The day starts out just like any other day in Texas. Miguel Santos, aka the Living Lightning, is undercover to bust a local car theft circuit. As a former Avenger, he uses his powers to quickly subdue his suspect, and afterwards plans on celebrating with some brews at a local bar along with his fellow detective. But just as he discusses his evening, a mysterious flash of light appears overhead. Mesmerized by his rays, citizens all over the world are distracted and left in harm's way. Lucky for them though, our heroes stay forever vigilant. But this phenomenon is not just local. As hurricane winds batter the Bahamas shores, mass water floods drown out regions of Paraguay, and molten hot lava spews from the cavernous openings of active volcanoes long since dormant in Iceland. Swiftly, a global state of emergency is called as Vision attempts to make contact with Avengers Alpha Flight Station, a low-orbit space station which looms high overhead of Earth's atmosphere. But what fellow Avenger Carol Danvers sees leaves her nonplussed and mortified, as it appears the Earth has ceased to exist and no outside communication with it can be made. While down below, lead Avengers scramble to maintain communication as they surmise the circumstances of their situation. Hank McCoy, aka Beast, does a quick assessment and judges by his reading that, though seemingly highly improbable, the Earth itself has been moved out of its orbit to an unknown location. The move has caused cataclysmic changes to the Earth's atmosphere, causing the shift of tectonic plates, which produce seismic earthquakes, which level towns, and towering tidal waves will threaten to engulf whole cities, if not for the interference of Earth's mightiest heroes. Just as it seems things could not get any worse though, two fiery meteors streak across the sky, but instead of landing haphazardly upon the Earth's surface, they appear directed as if by some remote force and land at a specific location on Earth's surface. One in the Colosseum of Rome, Italy, and the other on the circular terrace of Moray, located in Cusco, Peru. Each site distinctively known for their historic significance. But what is unknown after the comet's landing is the appearance of the strange pyramidoid artifact engraved with cryptic glyphs that is left hovering high over the impact sites. Just then, as if on cue, appearing high over the Wadi El Rayan Desert in Egypt, a cloudy vortex appears and begins to swirl. And at its epicenter, a luminous light forms, electrifying the eastern sky, causing two lightning bolts to strike the ground beneath in a strange, unnatural unison. Rock fragments go flying, littering the proximity. But when the dust settles, two groups of combatants are left standing. On one side, Thanos' previous generals known as the Black Order. In their ranks, the psychopathic princess Black Swan, the sadistic, strategic Ebony Maw, the cruel energy spear-wielding Proxy Midnight, the muscle of the group Black Dwarf, Supergiant, a parasitic telepath, and lastly, their leader Corvus Glaive, whose pole-arm blade can shear through any no matter in a known universe. On the other side of the field is the Lethal Legion, whose ranks include Mullen, the all-new Metal Master, whose main power is the ability to manipulate all metal. Next is Manticore, the telepath. Then the Deadly Archmaster, Farine, the other. Draw, a gladiator from beyond the stars, the barbaric Blood Brothers, and lastly, their leader, the previous captain of the Kree Armada itself, Captain Glory. The two teams are pitted against each other, but are forbidden to engage in combat until the Masters deem it. The Black Order served the Elder God known as the Challenger, while the Lethal Legion served the Grand Master in a deadly game of Capture the Flag. But to make things interesting, the Elders have implemented some rules to this game. The first being the stage. The Earth was purposely moved out of orbit so that it unsettled the environment, causing such drastic upheaval. Then to amplify the chaotic weather further, elemental pyramids were selected by opposing elders that amplified the weather's agitation, taking a once tier 1 storm and kicking it up to 100. Each elder would choose a pyramid and place them in their most strategic environment, where their effects could be amplified to the most. Then, in order not to make things too easy for their combatants, obstacles known as the Avengers were thrown into the mix. The elders held their members' participation numbers in check though by freezing a certain amount of them in a form of stasis, therefore keeping the obstacles' involvement limited. It was only after when one member was removed from the board that another Avenger was freed from their stasis state, and so on as it deemed necessary. The supplementary rules stated two things though. One, that each celestial being could implement an extra mystery combatant if they felt the need should arrive further on in the game, but that was left totally up to the player's discretion. And two, in order to keep things equal throughout the game, every time one member of the opposing team touches the pyramid, they were removed from the board, as to systematically eliminate more advantageous players. But as always, when the stakes are high, players cheat. But to swindle an elder has consequences, as one of them finds out and then the other elder is left enraged and takes matters into his own hand, directly threatening Earth's very existence, leaving one Avenger in such dire straits as to sacrifice their life in order to free their imprisoned comrades in time to confront an enraged God, before the world itself is destroyed. But in the end, their daring Avenger pays the ultimate price for this attempt. Running concurrent to the main story though, you get a glimpse into the Elders' history, a new team member's origin, and the morbid truth about the real reason why a member of the Avengers just simply won't die. The whole saga, I must say, was put together near flawlessly, as to the pacing of the story was timed quite well. I say flawlessly though, cause it felt as though Jarvis' story thread could have been left out, as it had no bearing on the story as a whole. Oh well, maybe the writers are setting him up for something further on in the future, and I just have to wait to find out what that may be. For all these reasons though, I give this story arc a 4.5 out of 5. A really great read. Please visit my YouTube channel, Comic Talk, if you want to see more great videos like this one. Tap that bell icon on your way out, and oh yes, as always, until next time, keep reading, my friends.